Welcome back to another inspiring episode of Advancing with Amy, mental health warrior and neurospicy mama. Today we have a special guest, Yeliena Theofilatos, a skilled hypnotherapist and nervous system regulation coach. She specializes in helping high-achieving women overcome anxiety and regain their inner calm. Yelena shares her journey from aspiring therapist to expert in the field of hypnotherapy and nervous system regulation. Sparked by her own struggles with anxiety during the COVID pandemic, we'll delve into what nervous system regulation coaching entails, how hypnotherapy can play a crucial role in mental wellness, and hear transformative stories of Yelena's work with her clients. Plus, she offers valuable advice to those dealing with anxiety and depression. Join us as we explore strategies for better mental health and personal growth with the insightful Yelena. So, what exactly is nervous system regulation coaching?
Nervous system regulation coaching, in my perspective and what I do, my version of this is teaching people how to regulate regulate their nervous system so that they can have a better life quality, if we just put it into very
Right.
general terms. And a lot of times we already know what to do, meaning we all have our favorite self-care practices to go to, but we don't make time for them. And nervous system regulation requires us to put some time and energy in slowing down and pause and recharging our batteries. So, what I do, it can be as simple as encouraging and helping someone to find and make time for themselves in their schedule, and all the way to educating them about the theory of how nervous system works and all the different states and move through. So it's like a whole range of experience in there.
That's great. I'm very pro education because that definitely helps you take care of yourself better. So, does hypnotherapy play into that?
Definitely, it's not necessarily directly connected with the nervous system regulation work, even though hypnotherapy for relaxation, let's say, the simplest kind, of course, helps us to regulate our nervous system just by helping us to relax. It's just the way I use hypnotherapy is more so to help the person do the work beyond regulating your nervous system, which is when you get to your mind and all the beliefs that we carry, and then look into them and change them and learn how to utilize the strength people normally have, but they don't even know they have.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's something that I do in addition to regulation of the nervous system work.
Okay. And how did you get into this field?
Well, it's all started with a couple of things. First of all, I always wanted to be a therapist or a counselor. So I did go to school. I did my master's degree in social work. I got licensed and etc. But then COVID happened and I just moved to Hawaii where I currently reside. So there was no social work positions were hiring out there. So like, okay, what should I do with my life now? And that's the second thing. I went back into studying all the things I wanted to study when I was in grad school, but I couldn't because I had all the curriculum to do. So I did find an amazing course in hypnotherapy, which just blew my mind, and started applying it, working with just pro bono clients here and there, and realize that I want to specialize, and I want to specialize in something that is very close to my heart, to my own mental health struggles, which is anxiety. And this work, like self work with anxiety, eventually brought me to regulation of my nervous system self work as well. I didn't start there, but I found it eventually. So my personal struggle with the mental health, specifically anxiety, and all the studying that I did, all of those kind of combined together brought me where I am now.
I can definitely see how hypnotherapy would help with stress and anxiety. was on your website and I tried out one of your, I don't know if you call them meditations or hypnotherapy, but it was so relaxing.
Mm,
Yeah, I
yeah,
just love listening to the sound of your voice. So,
thank you.
have you had any great stories that you could share of changes that it's made in anybody's life?
Hypnotherapy work? Um, Let me think about my most recent client. I Actually, she's not my most recent client, but somehow she comes to mind right now. I had a lady that I've been working with over like maybe a year. We took some breaks in between, and her chief complaint, so to say, was depression, not necessarily anxiety in this particular case. And hypnotherapy that I did with her was all about helping her to focus on everything that is good and right about her and her life, even when it felt like things were falling apart or she was in some kind of a transition or an uncertain period of time. And she's kind of in it throughout because she is have been struggling to get her paperwork in order to be legal in this country, and this is like ongoing battle of her life. So that's always there at the background for her, kind of simmering. And we did a good number of hypnotherapy sessions to teach her mind to come back to herself, to what already working for her. And for her is her spiritual connection with God, praying, going out to the nature. And when people are prone to depressive episodes, what it means is that their attention habitually goes and clings on to everything that is not negative. And it's not to say that it's not important to take care of and account for, but if we uh, dwell on it for too long, we kind of get so absorbed into the negativity that we forget about everything possible, everything positive possible, potentiality of life, everything that is going well for us. And to be honest, I feel like hypnotherapy with it having an intentional absorption built into it. It's all about absorbing person into some kind of a either a state or a feeling or an imagery. It's just a beautiful way to help person to transition from like being gloomy and all sucked into that hole into really started generating positive emotions by them just spending enough time recognizing, registering everything that is going well in that life. And this is as simple as that. It doesn't have to be all like woo-woo hypnotherapy. And this is what I say to people. It's just all about relearning in the case of depression, what we allow our attention to be placed on and absorbed into and really shifting that focus. So that when we feel happier, we have easier time dealing with all of those changes and we feel hopeful. It's like a momentum that we can build just by learning how to feel a little more hopeful. So I hope that was a good story.
Yeah, it was. I could definitely imagine a change. And I think that it's important, like you said, where you put your attention and focus is how things will turn out. If you focus negatively, then you're going to be heading down that path. And if you focus on positivity, then you're heading down that path.
Definitely. And I'm smiling right now because I have a perfect story that I do share with my clients in a hypnotherapy session because it's all about stories and analogies and metaphors because those are absorbing to us as
Mhm.
human beings. And I have a very clear analogy for that focus. I remember studying. I was learning how to snowboard. Oh my God, I hated it from the very moment. But my boyfriend of that time was into it. So I had to try multiple times. And I was taught that I have to be looking down the slope of the whatever mountain that I was trying to get on. And I have to focus on where I want to go. I should not be looking into the tree, like, in the distance, because this is where I'm gonna go. And it was just so profound. I'm like, "Wow, that's just how in life," I was every time I was getting scared of the speed and just, like, a whole situation, and I would just, like, glue my eyes to the tree, and of course, I would go into that tree. Haha, no wonder. And every time I would kind of almost force myself to shift my gaze down the slope, which was tremendously scary for me, I would actually go down the slope. So that is my metaphor for this interesting phenomenon.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great story and a great metaphor. So, what would you tell someone who's struggling with anxiety or depression today?
That's a really good question, and I'm trying to think about it. A simple answer. Well, what comes to mind first and foremost is what have been helping deeply me and my anxieties and, you name it, feeling hopeless at times is spending some time understanding what contributes, what are those factors that contribute to me feeling that way, and really recognizing that some of those factors we do influence, we can control. Let's say we can be observant of the quality of our thoughts and start being really mindful and notice how they affect us. But there are things that we cannot necessarily control. Let's say certain events and circumstances in our life are a lot of times outside of our control, but we do obsess over them, whether we are anxious or depressed at the moment. And a lot of times we're just spinning our wheels. And especially in the case of anxiety, that sometimes give us this illusion of control, but in reality, we're just draining ourselves of all the energy we'd actually need to have to deal with those things. So this is, I guess, would be my one overarching advice is that make sure that you focus on the things that you can control and help yourself do something about in that area, and all of those things that you cannot control, acknowledge them, they're there, and watch out for this obsessive ruminating tendency of our minds that is usually getting us nowhere. And I know it's easier said than done. So this is why I also encourage people to really not just observe the quality of their thoughts per se, but how their body feel, what state it it is in terms of their nervous system states, and really finding your own way to bringing yourself back to the state of safety, regulating, finding that sweet spot where you feel not like, "Oh my god, I have $1 billion in my pocket. There's no climate change. I'm gonna be safe forever. This is like security 100%." This is not really achievable, to be honest, I think,
Right.
but we can feel safe enough to, like, feel safe in this moment, and this is a great reminder too, like, "I'm safe now. I'm okay now. I can handle it." Talk to yourself. Feed yourself with positive thoughts about your strength, about your capabilities, and you will see how your overall mood changes in response to that.
Oh, that is such great advice. Can you tell us where we can find you?
Definitely. A lot of times you can find me on Instagram. This is where I communicate with my peoples the most. And it's very simple. It's my blooming heart hypnotherapy, all one word. Or if you want to check out the freebie, that meditation/hypnotherapy recording that you tried and enjoyed, you can find it on my website, which is also pretty simple, mybloomingheart.com.
Perfect. And I'll put that all in the show notes as well. Yeah, I definitely recommend that freebie. There were actually 3 different ones you could try. So that's great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talk to us today. I've really enjoyed getting to know you a little better and learning what you do.
Thank you very much for giving this opportunity and all of your wonderful, wonderful questions.
Oh, thank you. You have a good day.
You too.
And that wraps up another inspiring episode of Advancing with Amy, mental health warrior and neurospicy mama. A special thanks to our amazing guest, Yelena, for sharing her wisdom and experiences with us today. We hope you found her insights on hypnotherapy and nervous system regulation as valuable as we did. Remember, you can connect with Yelena on Instagram at @mybloomingheart hypnotherapy and check out her free hypnotherapy recordings at mybloomingheart.com. Trust us, they're truly transformative. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to rate, review, and share it with your friends and family. Your support helps us bring more incredible guests and valuable content to you every week. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, keep advancing, warriors.